Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of Mad as a Goat. Today I'm talking about Western culture because I just happen to work with a guy who is Singaporean. He's originally from Singapore, from the whole Asian side of things. So I was listening to him and have been for the last year and a half about his perspective on how he sees Western culture. Because to me it's interesting to hear someone outside of something give their perspective. It's also the way you learn, by taking in multiple perspectives, but I've already gone over that. Anyway, and he said one thing he can't understand about the whole Western culture is the way we let our people dress. He says, you know, in our culture, when you dress and you put something on, it's not to be fashionable. It's not to show off. It's not to make yourself look big and mighty and all that. It's to look good. And I think, you know, he has a good point that we have forgotten how looking good is. We've lost that idea and now it's all about fashionable. And fashionable is a dangerous thing because there are many fashions and not all of them look respectable and nice. Now one of these would be this whole thing of tight clothing. Just everything's getting tighter. It started with women, you know, with lycra pants in the 80s and 70s and all that. And, you know, it started there, but now it's even come to the men. I mean, I went to go buy a pair of suit pants for work the other day just to find a store that only sold skinny jean type suit pants. That's not respectable. I don't want to go to work and be there being a show off, like showing off my legs. I want to look good. I want to look nice, I want to look respectable. You know, loose fitting clothes. I'm not saying baggy, I'm not saying I'm trying to look like Coolio or Tupac, but something that just covers the body. I don't want clothing that accentuates everything. Now, in some instances, I do like this whole, you know, lesser, tighter kind of clothing. And I think you know where I'm going with this. I don't mind when the young women do it, you know. When, you know, you see a nice 23-year-old in her skin-tight jeans, I'm not going to complain. I'm not going to complain about her wearing her short shorts. I'm not even going to complain about her blouse, which has her tits basically hanging out. I thoroughly enjoy when the young ladies do this. I find it a little bit wrong, and I would judge the parents who let their young daughters and even their sons go out in this type of clothing. We live in a sick world. We live in a completely fucked world. Turn on your television and watch the news for 5 minutes and come back to me. Put a comment and tell me what you watched. And I guarantee there was something pretty fucked up there. You know, there's a lot of fucked up shit in this world. And we should make sure that not only our children, but we set the example and dress respectively. I mean, I think it's fucked. Completely fucked. To see a bloody 13-year-old girl in the short shorts and her tits hanging out. That is wrong. Why? We live in a sick world. If that was my daughter, I'd be really worried, and I just couldn't let them go out like that because we live in a fucked world and you don't know who's out there and what they're thinking and what they're looking at. And you can't take your chance with this shit. And that's how the people in his culture look at it. They're women dressed in hijabs and whatnot and stuff like that, and long shawls and whatnot, because they understand that we live in a sick world and some people are just completely fucked and you can't even give them the opportunity to even think the fucked thought. So they all dress respectively. They might have their shawls on, that something that covers the body, not about being fashionable, not about trying to be Kim Kardashian, which I'll get to later, the whole celebrity thing, or anything like that. It's about looking good. When you go outside, anyone who sees you is not offended, isn't looking at you in some sort of, you know, I don't know how to put this, but sexual tone, I guess, or is even, you know, looking at you in any way other than, yes, that's another human being. It basically eliminates class, it eliminates groups, it eliminates all of that. In his culture, they don't have trendies, they don't have emos, they don't have these, you know, little groups of people. Everyone is welcome. It doesn't matter what you are, where you come from, everyone is welcome. That's how his culture goes. Or at least that's what he was telling me. And it makes a lot of sense. This whole fashion thing is terrible. Because now people don't hang around with certain people or look down on certain people because they haven't got the latest clothes or the newest trend or Louis Vuitton. I'm not really sure what I'm talking about when it comes to fashion. moving on. Another thing he found with our culture is the way that a lot of people in our culture speak of their elders and their parents. He said, the craziest thing when I first came to this country was hearing someone say, I fucking hate my parents, they're fucking cunts. To him, that was, you've probably heard people say that 100 times, but him coming from his culture, he was completely baffled they were saying that. You don't say that about your parents. Think about it. No matter what your parents are, no matter what they did, they brought you into this world. For at least that you have to be thankful. No matter what else your opinion, what other opinions you have or what they did, they brought you into the world. Be grateful that you're even alive. Could have got aborted. There is a time and place for that also. If your dad really is a piece of shit, you don't have to advertise that to the whole world. And some people, he said this to me, he's like, I find it disgusting when they use it as a way of bragging. Look how much shit I can talk. Another thing they don't do in his culture is talk shit. For instance, at my job, if someone is lagging behind or not doing their job as well as others, he finds it odd that the first thing people do is start saying they can do it better, or start shitting on them, or start, saying odd comments like, oh, you're going to get fired and stuff like that. You don't do that in his culture. Respectful. And that's why they don't give a shit about celebrity. If you have talent, if you're a musician, if you're an actor or talented, you get respect. Otherwise, fuck off with your celebrity sex tape bullshit. And they're just the few little things he told me about and the differences in our culture. And it made me feel a little bit upset with our culture. We're really letting ourselves down. We've got to bring the standard back up. Bring the standard up. Make us look like we are actually better than all the other cultures. We're judging cultures. We're saying they're wrong. We're saying they're shit. We have as much shit as they do. But at least they have respect at the core. What do we have? A bunch of pop celebrity music biz bullshit. I'm just saying. Just a bit of food for thought. Anyway, mad as a goat.